What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the After You cast. I'm sat down here today with family that's from the hometown, you know, and I love these episodes particularly even more because we get to bridge a bit of a gap between generations, but then we also get to highlight people who come from where we come from. And I'm always about continuing to push out that message of shouting out people from where you come from, you know what I'm saying? So without further ado, please introduce yourself to the people, my brother.
My name is Michael Simon. Yeah, man. When you say family, man, wow, you know, your dad, massive part of my life, man. Like, and you know, the community that we used to have, like the whole vibe we used to have,
Special.
big. So yeah, so basically, funny enough, right? When you say local hometown, let me just be very honest. Like I grew up in my younger years in Bracknell.
Okay.
But because obviously I had all of the family and everything in Slough, we was always in Slough.
So
and then when I got to a teenager, I just came to Slough.
Fair.
And you know, my first kids were born here. You know, my adulthood, especially like from teenager to kind of early 30s, was all here.
Okay.
So you know, this is my hometown too. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's blessed. That's
It's good to be here, man. Good
pleasure.
to be here again.
No, it's a big pleasure to have you on. As I said, we sat down recently on a win-lose or draw with Bigger.
Yeah.
And just touched on a few little elements to do with boxing and you know what you've been up to and things like that. But I wanted to get you on here because one, I think we can go a little bit deeper into some of those talking points.
Yeah, definitely.
And how I think not just boxing itself, but like combat sports, martial arts, is so imperative, especially for young men. Yeah, you know, it's we're talking about a lot of young men that don't grow up with fathers at home. Yeah, that young men that deal with like confidence issues, lack of self-esteem, low self-esteem, loads of different things. And
especially in today's world, you know, where like, you know, anxiety and, you know, that kind of stuff is definitely on the rise. You know,
definitely.
I think that, you know, you talk about outlets for aggression, and certainly, and I don't know if aggression's the right word, but we'll use it for the purposes of this. You know, outlet for that energy, which, you know, given the fact that we live in a much more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? A much more, you know, a less active lifestyle. It's a less active time. You know, it's not a time when indoors. You know, you were doing 12 hours at the coal mine or on the farm or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, and that took out all of your energy. You know, a lot of the time,
kids playing on the playground.
Absolutely.
Out and about.
I mean, you know, we used to, you know, I remember the days when it was like 23, 26. We've been playing football for 4 hours and this next goal wins. I don't really see that kids are doing that. Maybe they do, I don't know, but it just doesn't seem like those days are with us anymore. So,
you're right.
You know, in terms of like having an outlet for that energy, that's one. But very much upon what you said. Do you know what I'm saying? The whole confidence, anxiety, all of that kind of stuff. Combat sports, sport in general gives you that, but combat sports particularly because of the adversity you're facing, of the whole one-to-one kind of element of the sport. You know, taking losses, getting over them, the intensity of the training. You know, that kind of stuff. It really, I think it makes a lot of people. It definitely gives people. I mean, we were saying on the win, lose or draw people that I think there's a lot of boxers that will tell you that boxing has saved their lives. I think that's probably true of any combat sport. I think there's probably a lot of MMA fighters that will tell you the same thing. I think there's probably a lot of martial artists that will tell you the same thing, that it gave them a discipline and a self-discipline.
And a purpose.
Do you know what I'm saying? And you know what? Like, you know, we talk about the rat race, the human race, you know, competition is still a thing, you know.
Trust me, and we could never lose sight of that.
Absolutely, and it's a pressure. You know what I'm saying? And to have an experience in something that allows you to cope with that is a tool to have in your toolbox. You know what I'm saying? And combat sports gives you that for real. 100%. I think so. You know, I definitely think that. And I'm saying that as somebody that came to it relatively late. You know, I'm talking about for the likes of the kind of young adults. You know, and younger. You know, especially when you're talking about the situations you're saying there with, you know, people that potentially, you know, have parental issues. Maybe there's no dad in the house. Maybe they're in an environment where they really don't have anybody to express themselves to, or look up to. Certainly, I think that these sorts of activities can be key in addressing those sorts of issues and giving someone that outlet.
100%. I mean, you touched on a point there that I want to highlight, obviously, before we jump into, because we kind of skipped the origin story.
No, it's fine, we'll come back to it.
Because sometimes it's like the nature of conversations that feel like that. So
especially with me.
Yeah, but I'm kind of the same as well.
Guy.
Trust me, bro. Like, that's how the podcast started. Initially it was a lot of like me not knowing how to like direct conversations and just fly off on tangents and things like that. But learned to reel that a little bit more in over time, just naturally. But I want to lead off with a point that you just said there, because a couple episodes ago on my solo episode, I brought up a point which I thought was really unique to me, which was, you'll hear on one side people mention and say, it feels good to get that weight off of my shoulders. Which is almost like it can be tied to the stress relief of certain situations, but then I also think it also is tied to pressure and high pressure moments, dealing with those as well. So like when we talk about competition, fighting sports, combat sports particularly, it kind of teaches you to deal with pressure. And we also, on another side, will have the statement that says, pressure makes diamonds. So that's why I feel like those kind of two statements coincide with the same thing, but they're on two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. One, it's like we want to relieve the stress and the tension and the pressure, and then another side, it's like it makes the diamonds and makes those high valued individuals we see in society. So what's your thoughts on that?
I agree with that, and I use a different analogy, which is about fire. Fire will burn you, but it's also what galvanizes iron into steel. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the same. It's the same principle.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? But you got to go through the fire to get hardened. And you're right. Like when sports in general, you're trying to get to a level. You've got to train. It's not coming off. You got to go back to the drawing board. You train and drill it and drill it. All of that kind of stuff. You get over things, and then you compete. Often, if not always, in front of a crowd. Do you know what I'm saying? That's big. It's big. And once you've achieved that, definitely it alleviates that pressure. It takes the weight off your shoulders. Of course I can sit in this interview, of course I can deal with my mortgage problems, of course I can raise my children, because you know what, I understand what pressure is and I understand how to overcome adversity. So yes, absolutely, I think it's man, things like this are intrinsic, and like we're saying, in this modern age where we don't necessarily have the automatic outlets for that energy, and we're in this age of social media, we're so much more under scrutiny. Your mistakes are public. People can talk about you. You can, things you posted however long ago that maybe you don't feel like that no more. You know what I'm saying? That comes back to bite you. So there's a lot of pressure, and I don't want to say the wrong thing in case it comes back to kind of hit me later on, or do the wrong thing or whatever. So our lives are much more under the microscope than they ever were before. So
we live in this it's almost like we live in constant confliction with situations of polarity. You know what I mean? It's almost a case of we've got these hot and cold scenarios where you need enough of the heat and the equal amount of the cold to find this, this healthy balance of homeostasis. Right?
Yes.
So it's like it's one of those ones, and that's why I think combat sports and fighting is so key. Because it teaches you early on, especially for young men, that the world's going to slap you in your face consistently. As young men, and you're going into the real world, if you have this fairy tale like way of life, or this hopeful like way of living, you're probably going to realise the hard way.
This is, again, part of the modern world. We've kind of I don't know if evolved is the right word, but we've evolved to kind of, we really protect our children. That's a great thing, obviously. But in terms of how we raise them, does that mean that we're wrapping them in cotton wool too much?
Coddling them too much.
Exactly. Are we not? Are we potentially not allowing them to express themselves, not make mistakes, not be in situations that
that they
you might have thought, nowadays you might say it's dangerous.
It's true.
We used to go and play in the woods.
Yeah, man.
Do I let my kids go and play in the woods? Do I let them go to the shop on their own? I remember my dad sending me to Safeways, to get some French bread.
Safeway.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's showing my age,
No, but I know about Safeway too, so I'm up there, big man.
Would I send my kids at that age to the supermarket? Probably not, bro. So we used to
open door policies.
Yeah, we used to do chores to earn pocket money and all that kind of stuff. We're not really in that time frame anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So whilst it's definitely a good thing that we're more knowledgeable. We're more aware of the dangers and hazards and whatever else that are out there.
Yeah.
At the same time, are we denying our children an experience? Are we denying them learning experiences? I think to myself, as a parent, you've got two jobs. Job one is protect your children, and that comes in every form. Put a roof over their head, make sure that they got the food, get them good education, all of that kind of thing. But step two, or part two, is to prepare them for the world. Do you know what I'm saying? How do you prepare them for the world? How do you prepare them for the slaps in the face that the world is gonna give you? And it's a tough job. And if you can have something like a combat sport that's gonna take some of that, not burden, but it's gonna help, then why wouldn't
alleviate more issues?
And look, it's not for everything isn't for everyone. I get that. 100%. But as you see in the rise of how popular it is, sounds like it's for a lot more people than we first thought. Do you know what I'm saying? 100%. So and long may it continue to grow and increase and enhance people's lives.
No, 1000%, man. So like, before we get more even deeper into that, because I want to come back to a point you talked about, to highlight like the complexities of things. But let's rewind a little bit, go back and get you to share a little bit more about kind of like how you got into boxing per se. And because I know your story, like you mentioned earlier, we'll go into it a little bit later and things like that. So you have a different perspective.
So funnily enough, right, my family is a combat sports family, and I never really thought about it like that, right? My dad was actually a judo coach. He was, my dad was Big Fred, big man. But he was actually a judo coach, and my sister was British karate champion. Right, so we are, and we're not like that. We're not. That's not necessarily the way that we would portray ourselves. But when I check it, that's our background. So we always loved. I loved boxing. I watched boxing from the late 80s, early 90s, from the Tyson to the Eubank Ben. All of those times there. As a kid, that was the era that I grew up watching. Do you know what I'm saying? Lennox. Even a bit, even Lennox. One of the most underrated heavyweight champions. I think doesn't get mentioned enough in the terms.
If he'd been American or something, he probably would have got.
Maybe it's the time period. I don't know. But anyway, so I always loved it. But to be honest with you, it was never. I don't know. I tried it a little bit when I was a kid. I had a few. Went to a class here and a class there, but it was never really. Then just wasn't, the time weren't right or whatever, and then my parents were very big on schooling, and they were definitely trying to push me more in the educational way than in extracurricular sporting activities. So it kind of fell by the wayside. And then, as I was saying on the Win Lose or Draw podcast, very 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 good friend of ours, Fitzroy Bramble, passed away from cancer, and my uncle Paul on my mum's side passed away from cancer as well. And I found myself very much wanting to do something, and at the time in my mind I thought it was going to be like a half marathon or some sort of these Tough Mudder, some kind of endurance event. So I get some sponsorship and I'd give it to I don't know, Mary Curie or cancer research or whatever. And there's a guy in I was working in this company, and a guy that was working there, who's now a friend of mine, Graham Corker. He, who actually runs his own little boxing class now, very good little class, old man boxing, big up. He was doing this fight for charity, for UWCB, that's ultra white collar boxing. And he explained the situation that it's for cancer research, and basically they give you 8 weeks free training, and all you need to do is make sure that you give them at least £50 sponsorship and get 30 people to turn up. I'm thinking, not a lot of people, I can get 30 tickets sold. So that was my introduction to it, and obviously, that addressed this wanting to do something for cancer thing. So
you came into it through a different way, but through still a passion for it.
I mean, I always wanted to do it. I was, I'm a armchair. I was always a big armchair critic. Watching boxing and saying this guy is going to win because of this, and this style is better than that style. And, I was always very much, involved in boxing conversations with my peers or whatever to, talk about who's the best and why and all the rest of it. And how I knew that I would be, if I was a boxer, I'd do this and I'd do that. Exactly. And so that was my introduction to it. And it done two things. One, obviously, it gave me that first exposure to actually, the real training.
High level.
Although maybe a watered down version of it, because obviously you're not. But the funny thing is, when you start doing it, you go into their classes, they give you training twice a week. If you just did that, you would never get fit. You'd get fitter.
But you're not going to get to that level.
So you end up going to different boxing clubs on the other days of the week to try and
fill that void.
So you're getting a bit of sparring. You're doing circuits. You're just pad work, whatever. You're
recovery.
Everything. You're learning, right? And so what that does is it really introduces you to the local boxing community, the local clubs. And that in itself, that really kind of immerses you in the kind of
the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So like once you're in it, you fall in love with it.
Exactly.
And it's the community as well. Like I was saying, and I don't want to keep repeating myself too much from the other podcasts, but how welcoming the boxing community are. Like, bearing in mind, you're talking about a sport where two people get into a ring and hit each other. Now, there's a lot more to it than that. And boxing is very much more chess than checkers. That's a phrase you'll hear, or drafts. But ultimately, it's a physical act. It's a physical competitive thing.
You're going there to take your opponent.
And we're talking about knocking people out and stopping people and hitting with bad intentions, and all those kind of things are very much a part of it as well. So let's not get it.
It's not friendly.
It's not a tickling contest. Right?
Not but
but people are so welcoming. You can use mate's head guard, and I've got some gloves you can use, and you should come and train with us, and we're all doing sparring down here and there, and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group and all that kind of stuff. And it's just people are so welcoming. You just don't expect that. I don't think you're not necessarily ready for just how welcoming it is. And it's just so easy to be in that group of people, and you want to stay in it, and you want to keep competing. And you'll find people that they're not even fighting anymore, but they're still sparring, they're still training, they're still involved in the scene, they're still going to the various local shows. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. So I got into it that way. I've had 9 fights, won 7, and on October the 15th in Swindon, I'm going for a prize fighter tournament at light heavyweight, which is me. Well, there's 8 of us, and that will be for a prize of $3,000. So I like to think of white collar as being semi-pro to a degree, because not even to a degree, more than that maybe, especially when you're selling your own tickets, and a lot of the promoters are saying like, all right, you're selling tickets, you get so much commission off it, and rare. So it's semi-pro boxing, and with a $3,000 prize, it's definitely semi-pro boxing.
100%.
So this will be the biggest challenge I've ever had.
Nice. It's about those challenges.
I'm ready for it. I think I'm ready for it anyway.
There you go.
But I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, and I feel like, and I'll be honest with you, I feel blessed. I feel like how could how can you get involved in a sport this late in life, have some aptitude for it, and take it to that level? I'm going to be boxing, in a great venue, in front of it's got to be a couple of thousand people.
That's massive
for a $3 grand prize.
Yeah, man.
Come on,
that's huge. From coming off of being essentially a civilian.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. And it goes to show how powerful something like that is, because naturally, I think as people, we all think that you need to get into something when you're 2 years old in order to be successful. Yeah. We have this notion that if you weren't doing it since you was 4.5 and doing it for 10, 15,
the Mozart
20 years,
syndrome.
Precisely, it's like we all have this, this apex fallacy of where everyone must be this elite god at everything they do, when I think in reality it's not really like that. No. There are many things, and combat and martial arts is one of those, where I've seen many people adopt it late in their life, way later, they're grey haired, and within a year or two manage to understand to a point where not necessarily they always compete, but they maybe have enough knowledge to teach, coach, educate, mentor.
Do you know what? I feel like I've got maybe some of my background lends itself to that, because my dad, Big Fred, he was, he did many things in his life, so I don't want to pigeonhole him with what I'm about to say. But one of the things he did do was he was a doorman, he was a bouncer, well into his 60s. Do you know what I'm saying? Before he finally got ill, he was that, and he was 50 when I was born. So I've never thought, okay, if you don't do it by 20 or 30 or whatever, it ain't happening. I'm looking at my pops and I'm like, okay, cool,
perception,
exactly. So maybe that's given me a different kind of insight into how and when you have to do things in your life. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not finished. No way am I finished. I mean, in terms of boxing, how many more fights have I got? I don't know. Started to pick up a few injuries now. Okay. You're hitting things all the time. Few hand injuries. My Achilles is
not as strong as you wanted.
It happens. Do you know what I'm saying? But in terms of like my mentality, in terms of like being able to get fit, I'd love to do this for another 5 years if I could. And I was saying, like, my last fight, I thought, this is my last fight, and it didn't end in the most satisfactory fashion. I won, but it didn't. It was a little bit of an anticlimax, and I think that something like that kind of also plays its part in saying, nah, I'm not done yet.
Absolutely,
So
the mind dictates to the body, doesn't it?
Exactly, and look, I don't know, maybe there's some ego involved as well.
There needs to be. There needs to be. I mean, if you go in with no ego, I think fighting a losing battle to a degree.
You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Again, one of the things that this teaches you.
Belief. Belief,
so,
character, instilling that discipline. And the focus as well, to be able to pick it up that late in life, means it goes to show how strong your mindset had to be to get into something like that.
Maybe, I mean, look, I think it's important to stay humble as well. As much as it's important to have ego, it's important to have humility. But if I was gonna, if I wanted anyone to take something from it, it's like, just don't give up on yourself. Don't feel like it's too late. Don't feel like you can't do this. Don't feel like just because the rules say that you got to do it from when you're 3 years old. If you didn't go to the academy, or if you didn't go to the ABA, junior ABAs, this ain't for you. Nah. Don't settle for that. If you got something in your heart that you want to do it. Doesn't matter when. Just do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's facts. That's big facts.
Definitely.
I mean, so let's switch a little bit to like modern day boxing in terms of because I know you are specifically working in the kind of the white collar boxing field. But what's your thoughts and opinions on how modern day boxing is perceived in the media, online? What is it that you see from behind the scenes that you're kind of like, I like that, but they're not really doing that justice?
I don't want to start off with a negative, but I'm going to.
Yeah, it's fine.
I feel like this era of boxing is possibly the era where, in fact, this is a double-edged sword. Okay, so traditionally boxers, would finish their career, professional boxers, beaten, battered, and broke. Do you know what I'm saying? With the emphasis on the last part. Well, actually, all of it, but
all of it.
but particularly broke. There's plenty of stories of boxers like Sugar Ray Robinson, you know, who you know ended his career with nowhere near the amount of money that he should have ended it with. You know, even when we look at Mike Tyson, I mean, Mike Tyson's fame has he sort of transcends this a little bit because he's so famous. But how much? I read something the other day to say that he spent £500,000.
Yeah,
you know, in his half a billion. Sorry, half a billion in his career. And when you're saying that, it's not necessarily on himself. I know that he is very flamboyant at times, but it's the hangers on. So and it's the management and the promotion that take their pound of flesh from you, and they're contractually, you I was watching the Mike.
What, Jordan?
Nah, it's a new show on, I think it's on Prime or something like that. And it's about Mike Tyson's story, and there's a bit where he goes to Don King, how much money have I got? And he's like, you're rich, Mike, you're very wealthy, you know, but what's the number? What do you want us to do? Go to the bank and get him to put all the banknotes on the table? And you know, he made millions and millions and hundreds of millions of money in what he was doing, and because of that, and yet, you know, I think he filed for bankruptcy not too long ago. Check me if I'm wrong on that. But,
I believe he's had his financial issues for a long time, as
have many of the boxers of his generation and previously. So in the modern generation, you've got the antithesis of that, which is Floyd Mayweather. Right? Floyd now has he's changed the game. And boxers now, not just the ones that fight for Floyd, but I think very much because of the way Floyd has conducted himself. Boxers make money now, you know, good money. You know, they retire with money. Look at Tony Bellew. You know, he's retired. I think he's bought 4 or 5 houses in the same street or something like that. You know, people are taking their money. They've learned to take their money, not get fleeced by the promoters. AJ, you know, he's made good. These people aren't gonna finish unless they have some particularly bad and tragic decision-making situations go on later on. They're going to be rich for life. They're going to start incorporating that generational wealth. Their grandkids are going to have money now. So that's the positive of it. The problem with that, and this is where the negative comes in, is that these days you have so many fights that don't happen. There's so many. There's so much. People are scared to lose their O. Because they're saying that is where the value lies. That's where you keep getting money for these big fights, because you're unbeaten. You know, and I think, and even if you're not unbeaten, you know, do you want to risk another loss that takes you out of contention for a title, that takes you out of the pay-per-view market? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think
the media hype stops coming.
Exactly.
The media training slows down.
And you know, we've gone from this era of the 4 kings, you know, Hearns, Leonard, Hagler and Duran. All of them fought each other numerous times. All great fights. No one ducked anybody. To this modern era where it's like, you know,
selective.
And the worst thing is, you'll hear about a fight, you know. I've been hearing Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, this social media war that they're having. And I don't even know if the fight ever happens.
I don't know.
Do you know? Maybe it does, maybe it don't. They're kind of outside of each other's weight category.
It's unlikely to.
You know, so I don't know, man. All that being said, the big fight at the moment that I think that's captured people's imagination is Eubank Jr. versus Ben Jr. This fight has no business being made. One's a welterweight, one's a middleweight. They're on different trajectories, totally different. Eubanks, you know, should be looking to mix it with middleweights and get a middleweight title. Conor Benn should be looking to fight, you know, Crawford or Spence, or get into that contention of where he's in there. Yet, because of just how incredible those fights between their dads were,
that's it.
20 plus years ago, whatever it is, they're making this fight. So, you know,
so you see, it's a lot more about the advertising, the marketing.
Totally.
It's more business,
totally. And you can call that social media. You can call that just general kind of just media in general. The way things are so much more broadcast or whatever. You know, we're in an era where we can all go back and watch those videos, watch those highlight reels, and we're enamored with the whole you know, fights of the fights of yesteryear, and will we get that again? And then both of these guys have got sons, and both of the sons come boxers, and they're both in and around world title level, it's fairy tale stuff, isn't it?
I mean, you look at football, Erling Haaland.
Our fingers son,
You can see now, like we're. I think I was going to say as well when you was talking, it reminds me very much of the same in football, and I would say that a lot of sport in general, has kind of taken that same precedence where, you know, in your generation and your dad's generation, my dad's generation, and older, they had to kind of deal with a lot more of the raw beginnings of these things. So ironing out things and does that work, and a little bit of corruption and a little bit of shadiness going on there until they kind of iron out the creases, and they're like, all right, cool, we got rid of that bit of corruption and fraud over there, but it also got rid of a little bit of the excitement of certain things that we enjoyed. We didn't realise by getting rid of certain negative things that we'd get rid of positive things too. So, and I think that's what's happened.
Look at the rumble in the jungle. You know, it's in a country with a dictatorship regime with all kinds of stuff going on. Do you know what I'm saying now? You've got the most famous and probably most corrupt promoter of all time, Don King, involved in it. You know, there's all kinds of shadiness going on in the background in that fight. That fight doesn't happen today.
Nah,
you know?
No way.
That fight doesn't happen today. You got this guy George Foreman who's just devastating everybody. You got Muhammad Ali who's been beaten by Frazier, who got absolutely annihilated by Foreman. I think he knocked him down 10 times in 3 rounds, something like that. It was an annihilation. That fight can't happen today. They can't make that fight today. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's the shadiness and the corruption and the whatever else that plays a big part in that fight coming. What are we left with? An absolute historical sporting classic moment. You know? So look,
it's interesting. We can't. We have to have trade-offs. There's going to be compromise. We're not sitting there saying bring back the olden days. We understand time moves forward, but it's just interesting to point out how some of these things have adjusted over time. But so white collar boxing, like for the average person out there who obviously doesn't know a lot about boxing in general, explain a little bit more about what white collar boxing actually is.
So I believe, and I might be wrong in saying this, but I believe the phrase white collar boxing was born from, and it could have been in the US and it could have been in the UK, or it might have been simultaneous at the same time, kind of like people who worked in offices or whatever, so white collar workers, wanting to compete in boxing. So
bit of a Pulp Fiction.
Remember Fight Club?
Fight Club.
But you can talk about it, you know.
You can. It's basically a public fight.
And you know, I don't know too much about the actual, you know, the actual origins. I'm sure, you know, maybe people could research that or whatever and look into it. 100%. But that's where the phrase comes from. From that kind of thing. But what it actually is in reality, certainly here in the UK, I don't follow it in the US and I don't know, but where it actually is in the UK is often it's that kind of thing. It starts like that. So, you know, my first fight was quite a lot like that, and it's not necessarily white collar workers. A lot of the guys are blue collar workers. If you wanna make such a distinction, I don't particularly, but whatever. You know, it's not just office people. It's plumbers, builders, whatever. You know, everybody doing it. But what I think it is now is it tends to be a mixture of a couple of things. It tends to be amateur fighters who didn't necessarily go pro for whatever reason, but have got older, they've had their kids, maybe they've started their professional lives which weren't in boxing, they've still got something left to give and they've come back. It's for people that maybe have started down the amateur route and for one reason or another that doesn't suit them, and that's not necessarily because of their skill level. It might be because some of the politics that goes behind amateur boxing, and we can talk about that a bit later. Maybe I'll get myself in trouble. And it's also crossover people. So now you're getting you'll get a lot of kickboxers. You'll get a lot of MMA people. You know, people that maybe they go into a boxing coach to improve their stand-up because they're an MMA fighter or whatever, and you know, they're sparring boxing guys in the gym and they'll be like, yo, you know what, let me give this a go. And you've got a lot of promoters now who, because it's unlicensed, they don't necessarily have to, I don't want to be negative about the various boards of the country, but they don't have to play to the rules of the ABA. They don't have to play to the rules of the British Boxing Board of Control. You know, as long as the fight is safe, as long as they've got, like, you know, people doing medicals and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and a sanctioned referee and all that kind of stuff, then actually they can put on a fight, and they can put on a very good night's worth of entertainment for people to go to. So it's probably where unlicensed boxing, the old Lenny McLean type unlicensed boxing, has now kind of merged. So now we've got this kind of mixture of all of those things. So I just call it semi-pro, because I feel like that covers it. You know, people are making commission off their tickets. There's prizes to win, like this one. It's not pro, but then actually neither is it amateur. So I call it semi-pro personally, because I feel like that covers it more accurately than the phrase white collar boxing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I was going to throw in as well is that it must be interesting when it comes to fights, because you're dealing with people that might have intrinsic skill, but you don't know it. And that's a question mark. It's a big question mark. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're going to be the next big thing, or immediately come in and be like Mayweather and in the ring. But
listen, if there's a couple of guys that have made it. There's a couple of guys. So there's some evolution of this, right? So first of all, yes, you're correct in one respect, because of obviously the different backgrounds people are coming from. But again, social media, people have got their fights on YouTube, people have got their fights on their Instagram, and they're on their Facebook page, so you can still see people. But actually, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of people that have actually been white collar champions that have broken into professional fighting, and the names escape me for a minute. But also, there was something called the Queensberry Boxing League, which has now been changed to Quest Boxing League. But Queensberry Boxing League was on Eurosport. And what they did was it was the same sort of format as the white collar boxing, but they had various tiers, so you could go through the tiers, like go up the leagues, right, and then you know, at the top tier you could fight for national titles. So there is a national Quest Boxing now, or Queensberry Boxing middleweight champion, flyweight champion, heavyweight champion, whatever, and that has been a stepping stone into the professional game for some people. The problem is with the professional game is, right, the British Boxing Board and Control don't want to give anyone a license unless they've had and have been carded as an amateur. And carded, what that means is you're registered with an amateur boxing club, and you've had at least one fight for them. And some people are like, but you know what, you go to an amateur club, I'm 30. I was going to say I'm 28. I'm 36.
I don't want to be in there with some 19.
Not just that. 18. If you're an amateur boxing coach, why are you going to spend your time with these old guys? You want to get your guys who are going to go to the ABA championships and then maybe the Olympics. So you, as an older person,
like AJ.
As an older person that doesn't have that you're coming into it as a new thing, how are you going to get that attention from the coaches? It's difficult for them and it's difficult for you. So this Quest Boxing League type thing, that's an avenue now for people that really want to have a go at this. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe earn a bit of change out of it. You know?
Well, so essentially it's like it is a bridge in a way, but it seems like it's not advantageous necessarily to just jump straight to the pro leagues, or even want to, because you know that amateur boxing,
look, I mean,
and the rules are just not fitting.
Pros are pros for reasons, you know. What they're doing, you know, they're to be a professional boxer. You know, the lifestyle, the amount of training you have to do. You're
cutting of weight.
You're up at 4 or 5 in the morning. You're running 3 to 6 miles every day. You know, then you're in the gym doing your strength conditioning. Then you're doing pads. Then you're doing rounds, and you might do some rounds on the bag. And a lot of pros are like, you know, bags ain't really the thing for us. Then you're sparring. Then you're eating right. Then you've got to make sure you're sleeping right, and you're doing it all over again. And that's got to be paid for. It's a hard lifestyle, and I'm not a pro, so I'm probably not even giving a good enough account of what you really need to do to make it in that game. You know, I read a lot about it. I speak to pros. I know some pros. You know, but it's a lifestyle. It's a real absolute dedication, and you've got this shelf life, you know, 20 to 30 something, maybe, to make your mark, you know, make enough money that it's worth it. Right. It's a hard game, really hard game.
100%. And then you're taking damage along the way.
Exactly.
So it's the build up of damage along, you know.
And, you know, career wise, if you're doing that, when you come out of it, if you haven't made any much money, what do you go and do afterwards? Because you haven't built up the last 20, 30 years being a plumber or an accountant or whatever it is that you're going to do, or being in college and university or whatever, doing your apprenticeship.
And so, this is why I like having these conversations, man, because obviously a lot of my audience are footballers. You know, they come from that footballing world. But as you can see, similarities are clear as day. No different in football. From I know so many guys that didn't get up the levels, and they played low league and done really well. But they've had to be bounced to club to club to club to club to club. There's no stability in that. There's no financial security. So. And they get paid well, but it's about what you do with the money and then the lifestyle with it. A regular civilian doesn't go on the trips and buy nice shoes and trainers and cars, and they keep it quite cool. So
Ferraris and Balenciagas.
Unless I've said this before to unless a lot of boys, unless you get to a high championship or Premier League level club and get at least 2 to 3 contracts, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it, because you need to consider family one day. How much money
what are you going to have at the end of it?
What you're going to get. And then what you're going to do past 30 to 60, 70, 80 years old. That's 30, 40 years potentially. And that's where I see a lot of athletes, particularly footballers, go.
I hear you say that, but I think a lot of people will say it's better to have loved than lost. You know, better to be able to look back, skint, and say, but at least I played professional football. At least I was a professional fighter. You know, absolutely. I mean, not everywhere. I don't think that's necessarily a sensible way to look at it, but I can understand that.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's the allure. It's the allure.
Yeah, it is
of what it is.
It is, and that's ego probably, but also it's esteem. You know, and that's a fine line, isn't it? You know. But yeah, man, I can understand why people would just say, nah, I'll make it. Make it. If it didn't happen for me at this club, it'll happen for me at the next club. If it didn't happen in that fight, I'll make it in the next fight. I'm gonna get a run. I'm gonna put a run together. You know, I'll be all right. I'll get myself a
little something.
You know, whatever it is. You know, the you know, maybe trying to temper their high expectations, but still have something to aim at. I get it. I get it.
No, me too.
You know.
And that's why I think it's just healthy to have the conversations, because you showcase to people, opening up the opportunities of what is available. You know, I think sometimes when you ask athletes what their options are, what they want to do, that's really where the problem lies. They don't have a diverse range of understanding of other things.
But that's partly because to be successful at anything, especially sporting, you've got to be blinkered. You know, you've got to be...
You got to be like,
I'm just looking at that. I'm just looking at the win, the title, the next whatever challenge, and you got to be. And when you get into the kind of, you know, professional athlete, forget being elite, just being a professional athlete. The amount of dedication and the amount of blinkers you got to have on just to focus on that kind of thing, it's not normal.
No, it's not.
And normal people, we can't really understand it. You know what I'm saying? And it's only now, for these last couple of years, that you know, I've been doing this sport at the level it is at, that I can even have a tiny taste of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like I diet hard. You know, it's hard, man. You know, having to watch getting on the scales every day, all of that, it's hard. But I kind of love it as well.
Because it gives you a little bit of purpose.
It gives me a taste. It's like, you know, maybe I could have been a pro. You know, maybe I could have been a professional if I'd started earlier. This is my little chance to experience something of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%, man.
You know?
I mean, it goes back to the basic human experience of what people are looking for. You know, what is your why? What is it that you're doing that you're seeking fulfillment? And it goes, like you said, with athletes. In general, they have to like lock off so many things. I remember when I was playing football in my early years, like the amount of things I said no to doing, and I wasn't allowed to do, I didn't want to do, because it was just like, now I've got a game coming.
Can't go there. Can't eat that. Can't stay out that late. You know,
there's numerous over and over and over again, and it's like maintaining that discipline and that consistency. It bleeds into other areas of your life, and luckily that's what I was able to recognise, that, you know, once football was no longer an option at that level, I still had the transferable skills.
So how old were you when that point?
21, 22. Where I was like, the transition of bodily injuries building up, opportunities. Am I going to be able to? Loads of different things. You know, you get to a point where you're like, you have to be realistic.
How involved are you now still in it?
I do coaching.
I
do coaching. I coach young footballers. I work with the casual ballers, and I've done my own one-to-ones and things like that. So I don't think you're ever not connected to something once you start that young.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to teach and educate and show people now is that whatever you do, even if you make it to that level and turn pro, it's about living with yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of footballers I know particularly,
they get depressed,
regardless if they make it, I know boys that are making it right now playing in stadiums.
Yeah.
But on the day to day, stressed, anxious, depressed. And then when they retire at 31, 32, 33, which they reach out, and it's interesting that at that age they start looking back towards people who come from where they come
spiral,
from.
Don't they, at that point?
They spiral, man, and they don't have
all kinds of things that they shouldn't be into, which is partly because of like what you're saying, but also partly because of the fact that they've been denied everything so much. Do you know what I'm saying?
Denied all these opportunities.
Yeah, all of a sudden they can go to the pub or whatever.
So it's a positive that they would had to disregard those things to get to that focus.
Yeah.
But then now you don't realise there's like pros and cons everywhere.
Yeah.
Trade-offs everywhere. So now they've taken 15, 20 years of this.
Yeah.
Now the rest of the world feels foreign to them.
And the thing is, look, you can do it, but I think it's having a really healthy ethos behind it, and that probably comes from having a good family background.
Yeah.
That probably comes from having a good set of principles and stability and whatnot in your life.
Yeah.
So if you don't make it at the highest level and you got into this to get away from those instabilities and those problems, once it's over, easy to fall into, you know,
and just come.
What have I got now?
100%.
You know,
100%. It's like that that again, reason why these things are key, because I think if you have that instilled from a young age, sport, combat, martial arts, discipline, it's like it makes everything else a little easier to deal with.
I'd probably say that martial arts is the one that people are the safest from. One, because of the level of discipline is probably, you know, much higher than any of the others in terms of that real honour, discipline kind of thing. It's a different level to the other sports.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it's not just about being the best athletically.
Yeah,
it's about carrying yourself in the best way and doing things in that kind of honour element of it.
Yeah.
And secondly, no disrespect, but other than MMA, it doesn't have the widespread knowledge. You know, there's not many people that could tell you who's the best karate.
Yeah.
Who's your top 5, you know, karatekas?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
No.
Top 5 MMA? Yeah. Top 5 boxers? Yeah. Top 5 footballers? 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think that maybe because it doesn't have that spotlight on it in that way, possibly because of there's so many different elements of it, you know, karate, kung fu, taekwondo, kickboxing, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying now? Yeah. Unless it's a real breakout, you know, like Gracie. Unless you got a name like that, then it's difficult for anybody to. It's not the same kind of spotlight that's on you, so it means there's not that you're not falling from such a high place once that comes over. And it's like you said, you're coaching. You know, the transition in something like martial arts, I think, is a lot more natural. Yeah, you know what I'm saying than perhaps for other sports.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I mean, one thing I would say was that when you start young enough, what it does give you is intrinsic things that you definitely can coach. Yeah. Regardless, like if you get into certain things later, and I'm sure you could probably touch on this, is that you've learnt things through watching them, but now you're in it. Yeah. You could probably coach things better now.
Do you know what? Sure. I'd like to go into coaching.
That's what I'm saying.
I'd like to go into coaching.
It's a natural thing when you go into things.
And I wouldn't say like kids or adults or either or what. I don't mind. I definitely feel like. I feel like anybody that gets into anything has to learn something the hard way. Yeah. If not everything. Yeah. But they have to learn something the hard way. And I think that one of the key things that people come to coaches for is shortcut this for me. Not I want a shortcut, but shortcut my learning experience. Don't make me have to get hit 10 times with this right hand. Don't make me have to do 30 crosses badly. Teach me how to put my laces under the ball. Teach me how to slip after every time I throw a shot. And if you can find someone that has said, look, I had to get hit with a lot of shots, but I can shortcut this and I can tell you, do this every time, do this every time, you'll be right as me. Do you know what I'm saying? I think I could do that. I'd like to think that I could do that. You know,
it's like working smart as opposed to working hard. And it's
you got to do both.
And that's what I was just about to say. That I was about to say that a lot of people think that you got to do one or the other, but like in my experience, and I've benefited from learning both.
Yeah, definitely.
From having the physical element of having to compete, but then also, all right, now I need the mental fortitude.
So does hard work beat talent?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question.
You want to think so, don't you?
You want to. You want to say yes.
Yeah.
But then, when you see that talented individual...
I remember people talking about Ronaldo, not CR7 Ronaldo. The original Ronaldo.
Yeah, I was talking about this with my boy Josh. Yeah.
And I was watching a documentary about him, and the guys were saying, listen, man, we'd have a 14-day training camp to get ready for a World Cup, and Ronaldo would turn up for 2 days and do more than anyone else in those 2 days. And you know, like, when you see him, you'd be like, this is the greatest player I've ever seen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Is Usain Bolt?
Yeah.
Is it talent? Is it
I think it's got to be both. It's got to be both with Usain Bolt.
Well, we know he is. If you look back on it, he came into it doing 400, then he wanted to swing into 2, and then he wanted to do 1.
Yeah.
He wasn't even going to be a 100 meter runner. So that's the bad thing.
And even when he got to that stage, you know, it wasn't like he came in out and blue the whole field.
No,
He had to step up.
And he had to
So definitely, hard work definitely come into it.
But I think there's a healthy balance of both. I think that if you are that super talented individual, you are going to have an advantage. Yeah, obviously, but it can be equalized by that person willing to outwork you. Yeah, that's why I think that, that's the beautiful thing about combat sport as well, and like football. You know, I can't tell you the amount of times when I was playing in the academy, and when I was at Watford, we're in the middle to a certain extent. We're a championship team at the time. Obviously, then I'd have got into the Premier League.
Watford have got history, man. They're a well-known team.
Yeah,
you know?
But for example, we're playing Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. They're big boys. Proper. But then we're playing Coventry, Norwich, Peterborough. Yeah. You know, other smaller teams.
I'd even argue that all of those are big teams as well.
I hear what you know what I'm talking about. Like when we, in our minds as footballers, we're young, we're from this area. We see Arsenal. Yeah. And we're like, oh, Chelsea. Oh. Yeah. And then, you know, when you play against a Norwich who's more equaling on that same level, or even like a Peterborough who's not in that level no more. The mindset of what it takes, what it gives to you, it's very interesting because you kind of like, you look at those big boys and the Premier League level ones, and it would be like before the game you could have lost it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, because you're seeing them come out in their kit, and then you're thinking, and you're associating it with the fact that they're all talented because of who they are. Yeah. Whereas you might take it easy on a Peterborough or a Norwich or a Coventry.
It happens in boxing, man.
Exactly.
Mike Tyson.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, that early Mike Tyson, how many people did he beat before they even got in the ring? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Just knowing this guy comes in with no dressing gown on, no robe. Maybe he's got a t-shirt. He's already sweating. He's got no socks on, and he's looking at you like he just wants to go through.
And he's just like pacing back.
Do you know what I'm saying? He's just ready. He's just ready. You know, the bell rings and he's straight out. Yeah. You've lost already. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless you're mentally strong, and you've prepared for that.
Facts.
And you know you've put everything in, he's beating you in a round. You're probably not going to make it out of the first round.
Yeah, probably.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And a lot of guys didn't.
Nah. You know?
Tells you right there, and like the mental side of things. But like, yeah, man, like, I think that for me, seeing how combat sports affects young people, and especially when you relate it to crime and like a crime alleviation on the streets, we're always talking about trying to direct young people in the right direction, and things like knife crime, things like just regular street crime, vandalism, all these things. You've seen combat sport particularly go out of their way to really try and support that. So like, what have you seen behind the scenes on when it comes to like your affliction to wanting to help youngsters that are going through those issues?
I mean, there's been like some knives down, gloves up campaigns that I've seen. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Where, you know, it's about, sounds self-explanatory, isn't it? You know,
of course.
I mean, I haven't seen a hell of a lot of it, if I'm honest with you. Okay. But in terms of movements, but you don't have to, because you go to the gym and you'll chat to people and they'll tell you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think the thing is as well, like, predominantly for young men. I wouldn't say exclusively necessarily, but predominantly for young men. You know, one of the problems, or one of the factors of becoming a man or a adult is this kind of, you know, not stereotype, but kind of image that what you have of what a man is. Someone that ain't gonna be messed with. No one's gonna mess with me. You know, no one's gonna try it with me. No one's gonna buoy me off. No one's gonna, you know, have me up like that. Yeah. And I think that's probably a big part of what makes people do what they do in terms of the wrongness, in terms of knife crime, in terms of whatever. There's this kind of whole testosterone filled kind of thing that you need to achieve. And I think that with combat sports, it takes it out of it, because a good coach, one, the confidence. You know, if you're saying, listen, look, I could knock you out right now. But I'm not going to, because I don't need to. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about I don't have to prove myself. I get in front of a ring. I get in a ring in front of thousands of people and prove myself right there. You know, so I don't need that whole ego. My ego's satisfied by that. Do you know what I'm saying? But the other thing is that once you get into it and you're working towards something, are you going to jeopardize it? You're going to break your hands on someone's head so you can't fight? You're going to get nicked for something so that you can't go on and compete? Do you know what I'm saying? And you're actually in the gym. You're up in the morning running. You're in the gym in the evening. Where's the time to be getting involved in things that you shouldn't be? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's got so many different facets. And then when you talk about the self-discipline element of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to eat that because that'll put me overweight. I'm not going to go there because I might get into some trouble that's going to stop me from doing this thing. Do you know what I'm saying? How am I going to explain that to the coach? How am I going to look myself in the mirror and know you dashed away this opportunity for what? Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it gives people that outlet. Do you know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, you know what? If you want to buy a really good pair of gloves and a really good pair of boots and stuff like that, you're going to spend quite a lot of money. But it's not like football. Do you know what I'm saying? Running's free. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to pay your subs to the club, but if you're talking like £5 a time, that's not that expensive. And there's a lot of clubs that, especially as a lot of coaches, that they know if they're getting someone off the streets, you know, to use that phrase, you know, they're going to be open to it. And I believe that there might even be some sort of subsidies that can be gotten from various like local councils or local governments to say, look, we've got a program here where we're helping young people, chuck us some money to get some kit. Let's make it so that we don't have to charge them so much for this class. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are endeavours going on to make that happen. But I think that in years gone by, you had boxing in schools. You know what I'm saying? You know, you still got boxing in the army and things like that. Why don't they do school? Why don't they do boxing in schools? And I think people always be like, oh,
it's hard.
Violence. You know, it's a violent sport. We should be talking about banning it. You know?
It's funny they say that though. But they want the violence in school that's controlled, but then you're willing to deal with violence on the outside that's uncontrolled. That's the problem.
Look, is there danger to boxing? Yes, there is. There are dangers. You know, you're hitting someone. Let's not dress it up for anything it isn't. There are dangers that come with it, but at the same time, this is a real world. This is not a simulation of another of something. This is a real world. Real things happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know, what are we talking about banning rugby? No. You know, I know that they're talking about, you know, there was some talk at some time of banning heading the ball in football. You know, but I think that's been pretty much put to rest.
I don't know.
You know what? You know, 200 years ago, when the king decided that he's going to war with the other king on the other side, he conscripted troops. So you and everybody in your village would put down your farm implements or whatever it was that you were doing, and you'd go and take the king's shilling. And that's probably the most modern version of that. Go back further times, my village would defend itself from your village and whatever else. You know, we are a combative species. All right. It's part of our makeup. We don't have to be, and it's nice that, you know, when we can be more illuminated and civil and all the rest of it. But But it's like we went back to what we were saying before, the human race. Yeah, it is a competition now. Yeah, and if you take and not if you take that having been taken out of typical daily life, what's left for people?
Yeah.
You know, sport is here for us, and if it serves the purpose of allowing us to use that testosterone and to use and to be an outlet for our negative energies or whatever, and at the same time gives you that discipline, gives you that distraction, gives you everything else that you need, makes you a competitor, teaches you to get through adversity, why wouldn't you have that?
Yeah.
What are you going to have instead? Because that's the thing, people will talk about taking it away. What are you going to replace it with?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Solutions to be replaced with stuff. Yeah, 100%. No, I agree, man. I think that it's that's why I talk on perspective on things I typically know, or I bring people in who know those things, because I've seen the benefit of what those things are directly. But I'm just one individual. And my experiences won't be able to relate to the next man.
I think there's a lot of CEOs or whatever that will say that, when they played rugby in school, when they did their karate, when they did boxing, when they did whatever, that helped them. Yeah. And those skills that they learned during that time have served them well. Why is it okay for them to value it but we can't? It's just it's strange. We can't deny our human nature. Yes, we can address it, and yes, we can curb it, and yes, we can direct those energies in the right place. But then let's do it. 100%. Do you know what I'm saying? And unless you can find something better to do it with, let's give let's encourage this sort of stuff. The thing is, how much do the public get behind AJ when he win the Olympics, or Natasha Jonas, or Amir Khan when he won his silver medal, or whoever? We love that.
Yeah, but that's
we love it.
Yeah, they love to bring them down at the same time as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, at the time when we're watching those victories and those achievements, we all as a nation get behind them. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? It's why are we trying to pretend that ain't the case? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's one of the most poignant things I think you brought up was the essence of polarity.
Yeah.
And how we must live in the understanding that you need a good, healthy amount of adversity and positivity. Yeah. Just that it doesn't necessarily always have to be a negative. I think a lot of people, when they hear about win and loss, the loss sounds so bad, because why the win feels nice, and the loss doesn't equal the same thing back. Then you'll listen to a CEO or an entrepreneur say it was the losses that created the biggest wins.
L's are lessons. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how I see it.
Yeah,
I see
learning.
Win or learn. You win or learn. It doesn't have to be win or lose. It's win or learn. Yeah. You learn from wins as well, but I mean, really, you're too busy.
You're too gassed off of it. You're just like, I'm the man. I've done my thing.
Do you know what I'm saying? But the losses, because if you're really serious about what you're doing, you're like, what could I do better next time? What could I have done better? Do you know what I'm saying?
Great point. I mean, I was at training yesterday with the casual ballers with the boys, and a couple of the boys after training session, they had a good session, and there's a couple of the boys scored some nice goals in the training. And I'm thinking of the positives. This is positive reinforcement, and want to give them something that they can take away to feel good, and then you hit them with a little bit of the criticism. For something to think about.
The good news, bad news, good news sandwich.
However, they're starting to flip it because they recognise the quality of what's being given is good. So they're like, coach, how can I improve this? And what did you think about this today? And it's like, that's a good sign. That young people, not confined to one group, but young people in general are starting to think. Starting to ask those questions of themselves of how they can make those improvements young, and that's why I think things like this even so more important, and you've got to keep that element going so they can see that there's people ahead of them that think the same, and they're like, okay, cool.
You know what, right? This is we're talking, not necessarily you're researching. You're researching things. You're looking at the successful athletes within your sport. Excuse me. Of the past that made it. How did they make it? Why did they make it? How much research can I do into that? How much can I learn? Mike Tyson. We look at Mike Tyson and we're like, this guy's a savage. This guy's this, that, and the other. He's reading about Alexander the Great and Sun Tzu, the art of war, and those kind of. This guy is educating himself. Yeah. He probably don't even. At the time, maybe he didn't think about how he was educating himself. He thinks he's just educating himself for the betterment of his sport. But he's still reading books. He's still learning more. He's still doing something to try and give himself the edge over the other guy to really what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
it should be encouraged.
Absolutely.
It should definitely be encouraged.
Don't get me wrong, look, we're here to talk about sports. It's not like sports is the be all and end all. There's so many different other fields, STEM subjects and all kinds of stuff like that. But you know what, right? We say something controversial.
Yeah,
controversial. Yeah. So I've been to my kids' sports days, right? And in sports days now, everybody wins. I'm not for that, bro.
Yeah, I ain't about these participation trophies. I'll tell you that. That's not even controversial to me. Like, if you get participation trophies, I think that's worse than telling somebody they lost.
Yeah, but some people are going to say, yes, but it's not for everybody. So you're going to give... Yeah, I remember. So all right, let me say my son's not very good at English. You're going to give him a participation A or 9-star or whatever the grading system is now. Because I don't want him to feel bad that he's not as good as English as the next student. No. But yet you're going to give this student a trophy for sport when he didn't try. Why?
Yeah. Why are you limiting sport?
If you're gonna pick, if it's equal across the board, then it's equal across the board, or it's not. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. What is wrong with someone saying I ain't found my niche yet? Let me keep searching. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's important to do that.
Yeah.
Especially to young people. I think the worst thing you can do to young people is lie to them.
Yeah.
Because they're much smarter than people think.
Yeah, exactly.
This whole coddling stuff,
does that create character?
What's that?
To say everyone gets a medal.
Absolutely not.
Maybe I'm being hard, man. I don't know.
No, you're not. Because when you look at successful people across the board, the common denominator is adversity.
Yeah.
And taking losses. Yeah. They'll tell you directly. They'll be like, I needed those losses to get where I wanted.
Some people are going to get given things in life, and that's not fair. Right? But we're addressing those balances where we can in society. Yeah. I don't think it's by doing things like this.
No, I agree.
I think it's by be better, be smarter, be sharper, be slicker. Do you know what I'm saying? Not, well, everyone's a winner at the end of the day. Yeah, but not in everything.
Thank you.
It's just not the way it is. It's just not. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a false sense of
security.
Or achievement. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong with different. Yeah. You know, different. Isn't that where we're supposed to be at? Celebrating difference. That doesn't look like celebrating difference. It looks like evening out the playing field and something that's been given this status, but we're not going to do it, and nor should they. It shouldn't be that why should someone's son get an A in science if he's not an A in science? What kind of doctors are we going to produce in the future? Do you know what I'm saying? But likewise, why do that in sports day? You know,
agreed.
Why not say sports day, everyone competes? Then we have science day, where everyone's got to build a model for this. Maybe we have art day, when someone has to either write a poem or draw a picture or do. Why not have
moments for everyone?
Yeah, since we have sports day and it's a tradition that we want to maintain, fine, keep it for what it is, but maybe introduce some other areas so that other people can shine in their respective fields.
Thank you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
You know?
Yeah, don't have it as this like this solo isolated event at the end of the year. Everyone has to go and compete in, and then like you said, science, maths, English, geography.
But you wouldn't do this at a spelling bee.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? It didn't spell the word right, but you get a certificate anyway to say that you could. What are you teaching them?
It was close enough.
Yeah. What are you teaching someone? That you don't have to be right, you can just be close enough?
That's the danger right there, man. That's a really poignant thing, because I think in society we're hearing a bit more of that.
I don't want to be harsh, and I don't want to be insensitive, and I don't want to be, a relic.
Yeah.
But come on, man.
Now, there's certain things that I think it's not about being a relic, it's not about being old school or ancient. There are just certain things that are synonymous with human nature, and that's one of them. Like hot, cold, polarity, pain, joy,
reality.
it all
Do you know what I'm
comes
saying?
together.
Yeah.
We can't. They're trying to like squeeze out all of the negative and take out all of the pulp.
Yeah.
Essentially, so we have this smooth orange juice, and every time stop. They're pulp for a reason.
It's yeah, exactly, man.
We need that pulp.
We need that colour. We need that contrast.
Yeah, facts.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. 100%. I agree. So as we get to the conclusion of our conversation, I really want to highlight one. I always like to get the guests that come on to share from their own perspective a piece of knowledge or a key bit of information or a nugget of information you've learned to translate over to the people, because this is all about transferable skills, showing that, as I said, you come from boxing, I'm from sporting world and creative, but we're all different. So what would you relate, or something a piece of nugget information?
I wish you'd asked me this a couple of days ago so I could have prepared an answer.
I like to throw people on the spot because it's more natural.
Yeah.
As I said, it comes to the head.
What have I learned? I don't think it's going to be anything particularly revolutionary.
Simple as best.
Don't quit.
I love it.
Never quit. Never quit. Just keep going. Keep trying. Do it another way.
Yeah.
Don't listen to no one that tells you can't do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Just find your own way to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Chase perfection. It doesn't matter if you don't reach it. Just the act of chasing it will get you so much higher than where you were before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
And I don't. And it's not what boxing has definitely taught me that 100%. And I'm nowhere near the finished article. I know I never finished boxing the finished article. That's okay. Let me see how close to it I can get to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
Let me see, and I already know that what I am now compared to what I was is a different thing. Today's me kicks yesterday me's ass bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know, that's enough for me.
That's beautiful in itself. That's self-development.
Yeah.
And realise self-actualization.
And it's giving me something like, do you know what? Right? Honestly, I've got belief now. How can I? I'd sit in front of a camera now. Like I went to a fight the other day, and the guy did an interview for me for this upcoming tournament. Yeah. And I felt calm.
Just chilling.
To talk to someone about me fighting. How's my prep going? How am I gonna, approach this challenge?
Yeah.
I couldn't have done that before, man.
Well, the thing is, you've gone through a lot of pain to figure it out.
Yes.
And you've chosen to do that. That's the reason why, man. Like,
the answer to that is yes.
100%. And this is the thing. Had you not gone through those trials and tribulations, you don't know, you'd be a shell of yourself.
Yeah. I was reading this. I was reading this book recently about a boxing book. It's more about strategy. This book, So how do you strategize against certain type of fighters and stuff like that? But actually, he talks a lot about training, and he talks about changing your mindset. Like there's times when you don't want to train. There's times when you don't want to stick to your diet. And because you're not in the mood for it. And that's a perfectly valid position to be in. You're a human being. But you have to change your mindset from saying, I'm not doing this because I'm in the mood for it. I'm doing it because it's necessary.
Bars.
Man. It's necessary to run these miles this morning. It's necessary for the process. Whether I am in the mood for it or not is irrelevant. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's a hard thing to take, but
it is.
I've been listening to this, and there's been a couple of mornings where I'm like, I don't really want to do this conditioning this morning. Am I tired? Should this be a rest day? That little voice inside you will start telling you all kinds of stuff. You don't want to push it. You don't want to peak too soon.
You don't want to push them healthy excuses.
Don't get yourself an injury now. You know what I'm saying? That voice will tell you all kinds of crap. But when you get to a certain level, you know this needs to be done. And it's just accepting that. Doesn't matter whether I'm in the mood for it or not in the mood for it. It's irrelevant. This is necessary. Do you know what I'm saying? So 100%. I think if you can adopt that mentality into what you're doing, for the purposes of achieving a goal, for the purposes of hitting a target, you don't have to do it forever, you don't have to do it for life. I'm saying I've got a 12-week fight camp or an 8-week fight camp, and there's a fight at the end of it. For that, I can do it if I'm not in the mood for it. And anybody can, I think, take that and apply it to whatever they're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people.
I'll give you two things, bruv. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's wicked.
I think they were the same thing, just said in two different ways.
Yeah,
right?
essentially.
You know.
Nah, I like that. Like simple, as I said, simple is best, and off the cuff sometimes. Because sometimes we hear things, we research things, we refer to things we hear, as opposed to just like what actually comes from within.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's just powerful, man. But as you just briefly touched on it as well, before you go, I really want to highlight and talk about what you've got upcoming with in October.
Yeah.
I know it's a big event.
Yes.
That needs to be discussed.
Yeah, so it's on the 15th of October in Swindon at a venue called The Mecca.
Yeah.
I'm fighting on Tank Promotions. The night is called Best of the Best. And I am fighting in an 8-man light heavyweight tournament.
Wicked.
So that means that it basically starts at the quarterfinal.
Nice.
Yeah. So it will be, for there's actually it's going to be an incredible night, and I am saying that to sell tickets and promote the show, but I'm saying it because it's real.
Right, get your tickets.
Get your tickets. There'll be links to me or whatever underneath this. But yes, it's going to be an incredible show, man. They got a 4-man heavyweight prize fighter tournament, and then they've got another female four-lady prize fighter tournament, right? Amongst my friend Julian Polk is fighting for a cruiserweight title. Another friend of mine, Jack Ruttman's fighting for a novice welterweight title. I think it is. It might be lightweight.
Night of events.
Honestly, and let me tell you now, in terms of the level of boxers, I went to one of the shows the other day. Sick. This is good. This is good fighting. This is not like this, and this is what I'd like to differentiate between the white collar, and this is no disrespect to white collar, right? And it is going to be called a white collar show, and even my coach, he's calling his new club Reading White Collar. Shout out to Tommy Johnson. But I feel like the white collar of people having a go at this because they want to raise some money for charity, like how I started it, this ain't that.
Okay.
This is not that. This is, like I'm saying, these are the ex-amateurs, this is the ex-kickboxers, this is the people that have just said, you know what, this is the path that I want to go down because I can make some money doing this. Can't make money in amateurs. You can make a bit, there's a big prize up for grabs, and some people might be on some sort of commission for their tickets, whether it's for this show or other shows or whatever. So do you know what I'm saying? This is good. This is a good level. If you want to see a really good level of fighting, of people that have trained properly, in a great venue, 15th of October, come to the Mecca in Swindon.
Make sure you get your tickets. I'll make sure that links and stuff are in the descriptions and stuff. And
thank you.
100%, man. We've got to support our people, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, brother.
That's what it's about. But honestly, brother, it's been wicked conversation. We can sit down and have these conversations way more.
I love it.
I think what I've told you, what a lot of the audience already know now, is that the structure is obviously slightly shifted and changed of how I'm doing things, and I want to bring back on more familiar faces of people that I know, recognise, that are doing things, as opposed to reaching to people that you're just reach out. You don't really know them though. Do you know what I'm saying? I think the conversations are way more engaging like this when we naturally know each other. We built up some type of respect that goes there.
Saying that, I'd love to meet Emma Husky.
Listen, what? Next time we have to talk to Biggs, and next time we do, maybe a win, lose or draw.
My dad loved him, man.
It's an Antigua, no?
Yeah, Antigua thing,
man. There's ain't many of us. So we got to back it. Do you know what I mean? But no, it's been wicked having you come and break down, obviously white collar boxing, talk about like your experiences in boxing, and then just like some of the nuanced things that young people can really take from this, and like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It really does not matter whether you're creative, whether you're in these STEM fields. It doesn't matter.
Totally.
There is so many. I think it's about empowering the young people to stay in that lane, man. Get as much that you can from it,
absolutely,
man, and take from other people too.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's so. The experience of overcoming any adversity, the experience of challenging yourself, and the experience of being in competition, regardless of the field, is intrinsic to development.
It's invaluable.
Surely,
I agree. It's invaluable learning.
Even whether you're talking about a field of science, if surely the race to the moon, the race to penicillin, the race to whatever it is,
figuring out oxygen,
whatever it is, it's still the same thing. It's competing. It's getting there first, and then and it's not always about being against someone. It can be collaborating 100%. To get to this next level. Do you know what I'm saying? So
healthy competition.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like in this case, it's much more of a you're trying to best an opponent.
Yeah.
Which there are things that you can learn in that.
Hey, but listen, I'm sparring. Sparring today. I'm trying to best my sparring partners. Afterwards, we're talking. Oh, when you threw that shot, this is why that worked for you, and how this. So we've gone to compete. Then we collaborate afterwards, and it's making us better fighters.
I think in that there's a very key point, and it's in order. When we compete, it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't work with one another. We can't actually find some agreeableness after the fact. We can compete to learn more about each other so that we can be better.
Listen, if I find a sparring partner, as I did today, who I'd already had, not to disrespect my previous sparring partners, but I found a sparring partner today that he was really good and he really tested me. Do you think that means I don't want to spar him again? No, I need this guy in my camp now. Now I'm like, yo, I've already said to him, look, we're doing another session tomorrow. You up for it? Because not because I want to get a beating, but because I want to test myself. Because the better I get tested in my prep, the better I'm going to perform in my actual event. Do you know what I'm saying?
Man. So, sharpening that iron.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's it, man.
Well, it's been blessed.
Lovely.
It's been
lovely,
wicked,
man.
Wicked. I mean, the wonderful Michael Simon, man. Like, you gotta check out, go get your tickets. I'll make sure descriptions are obviously in there. And just go follow him, man. Follow his journey. And another man that's just come locally, as I said, you're not necessarily born here and raised here, but like most of your family times.
Man.
The rest of your life has been.
I can rep Slough, no problem. I'm repping Slough.
What we're gonna do next time, we'll talk about some more local based things as well. We didn't get a chance to talk about the local boxing community and so much of what's going on.
There's some great places.
I know there's a ton of things going on. So
quick shout out, Lucky Gloves Gym. Big Corin and Lucky, just down at the foyer. Went sparring there the other day. Thank you guys. Wicked gym. Fighters Republic, just outside of town in Windsor and Eton. Wicked gym. Wicked coach Ian. Honestly, this is a good area. Berkshire is a great area for boxing. I mean, a great area.
Man.
Between Bracknell to Reading and Slough, and Windsor.
Maidenhead even.
Honestly, right? Berkshire is where it's at. There's a new gym. There's a gym in Bracknell called The Ring. Shout out to Darren Taylor. It's like a state-of-the-art world-class gym.
Really?
Honestly, man.
I love that.
Love it.
That's wicked.
They've got the sled runs inside there and all that kind of stuff. New gym getting built in Wokingham and Embrook.
Nice.
Dougie, Mark Bamfield, he's got his own gym in Woodley. This thing's going to be big. I'm telling you, like, it's like a warehouse they got that they're putting, So if boxing in Berkshire and MMA, Charlotte Tigers where I'm at, they've got a great setup. Man, this is. I think this is, this is one of the best counties. It must be. I can't imagine it's as good as this in other counties, or it's difficult to see.
See it visibly.
This county is on fire for the amount of gyms there are and the quality of the gyms. So, man, if you're not doing it already, get involved.
Get involved. Go find yourself a boxing gym. Young people would definitely help from the mind, body, spirit.
Definitely,
all that good stuff. So.
Definitely, man.
But Mike.
Yes, brother.
My brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
And support my brother. We got said upcoming things, man. Just stay tuned, lock in with his journey, we'll probably get you back on here again, man. Whether it's if we have time before, we will, but if not, then it'll definitely be afterwards, and we'll talk about some more.
If it's not before and it's afterwards, I'm hoping that they're gonna have some sort of medal or trophy.
That's what I said. Exactly. Come back for the big things. And
you heard it here first.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like interview, post little sneaky announcement. After you might actually be at the event, so keep your eyes peeled because we're gonna probably be documenting.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, we're gonna try and make a little bit of a thing out of it, but stay tuned and. But Mike,
yes, brother.
Respect.
Yeah, man.
And man. Cool. You beautiful people, thanks for locking in.
Thank you.
Enjoy the content, like, share, subscribe. As you know, we're always coming once a week. Whether it's someone you've seen before, you're seeing somebody new, it's all about learning, man. It's all about teaching and showcasing to you guys that these skills that you can take in one place, they can definitely be transferred into others as well. So further ado, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace and love.